finals performance resume?
I think probably number one.
I don't rate my performances. We should just win the game.
Get some contact, land, got it, and one.
You and I, we are not alike.
That shot was ridiculous.
But you don't shine when they hit the lights.
Oh, Steph Curry from way downtown. Curry, three-pointer, bang!
2-2 is way better than 3-1 going home, so job well done tonight.
All right, to break down who will win a championship, we talked to a champ himself, Matt Barnes. What's up? The finals are now tied 2-2. Both teams have proven they can win at home, they can win on the road. So game 5, what is the deciding factor there?
Steph Curry has been the best player in these finals, and it's not even close. I mean, for him to average nearly 35 a game, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, on shooting 50% from the field and 49% from the three-point line, you would want to say, let's try to stop Steph, but I don't know if that's going to happen. So I think it's really important for these guys, for Celtics, to try to control everyone else.
Yeah, the Celtics obviously have failed to slow Steph Curry down. I don't even know if that's possible at this point. Bad foot and all, doesn't really matter. But in order to win the series for Boston, how much of that depends on shutting down Steph Curry, or is there so much other things to take care of first?
Well, like I said, I think Steph's on a mission. Steph's heard a lot of people questioning his greatness and what he has and hasn't done. So although players act like we don't hear, we hear everything. So Steph's on a mission. I don't know if you're going to be able to slow down Steph, but like I said, the other guys, Clay, Wiggins, Poole, have kind of been simmering. They haven't really had a go-off game. We know all about.
Shift. It seems like guys started getting healthy. The team started coming together. They started playing defense. And then they realized one thing. When they share the basketball, it doesn't have to be hero basketball. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown don't have to be the only guys scoring. When they started sharing that ball, and they also had a team meeting. Marcus Smart called them out. It seemed like everything changed. Defensively, they got better. Offensively, they got better. And they've been rocking and rolling since January.
You know, Eddie, one of the
Eddie,
go ahead, Stephen A.
Go ahead, Jay. Go ahead, Jay.
No, go ahead, brother. Go ahead. You got it.
Eddie, educate us about this. There was a lot of talk at the beginning of the season. We all knew that Jaylen Brown was big time. We knew that Jason Tatum was big time. But there was a lot of questions as to whether or not they could coexist and whether or not Boston should strongly consider separating the two. I want to know what your mindset was when you first arrived and you saw them together. And did you think it was legitimate that these two could be separated because it just wasn't working? What was your mindset? What were you seeing?
My mindset was you don't want to break them up. They're young. You don't give up on young talent that's that young, right? They're both young. They're both gifted. And the way this league is going is wing-driven guys that can guard multiple positions and they can score 3-level scores. They check both of those boxes. I think what you do is you add to them. Marcus Smart is a great addition. But I think when they went and got Derek White and they got Al Horford, those were the missing pieces, the missing links. Now Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum don't have to dominate the basketball. Moving Marcus Smart to the point guard, he can make plays, but he also could play off the ball. Derek White coming in, being able to run the show. And then Horford, another guy I think is underrated, flies under the radar as far as what his capabilities and what he can do for the team. A guy that can protect the rim, he can knock down an open three, but then also makes all the right reads, can get it off the glass and push the break and make the right passes. I think you just had to put the right pieces around them. I didn't think you should break them up. They're too young and gifted. I mean, what do you get back for that? I don't know what you could really get back for that except some draft picks and potentially find another guy like that when you already have it. So I wasn't a big fan or wasn't a believer in trying to break that group up.
Eddie, I just got to say, first off, man, as a guy that's played basketball for a long time, I got to tell you, man, that short stint I had with you in the Nets, man, you're one of the greatest shooters I've ever seen, dog. So I just want to pay you homage live here on the show, man. The way you used to sling that, oh, my. People forget, Stephen A., you know what I mean, how this dude used to do it. So I just want to give you your kudos on that. But I am curious
and he brought it in moments, and he brought it in moments that counted too, Jay. It wasn't a front runner. When you needed a bucket, Eddie House gave it to you. Yes.
Yeah, no, I wasn't scared. I ain't scared.
You ain't never scared. But it did look for like a minute, though, in game 2 when Draymond was being physical, he was being demonstrative. To me, it felt like Boston looked like a young team at that moment, even though they look like an old team throughout the playoffs, even though we know they're age-wise young, right? But playing young and playing old are two different things. Like, that was the first time I saw them as a young team for a second. I am curious, from your perspective, Eddie, what changed between Game 2 and Game 3 about the way they were going to readdress Draymond Green?
I think this era of basketball, they come from the AAU group where everybody's bros. Like, that's my partner. We all cool. Everything is cool. I know we're in the NBA finals, but we're still buddies. I don't like back in the day, guys just really didn't like other guys because you didn't have the accessibility to them via social media or, being able to talk to them or going to all these other camps the way or these AAU tournaments that they are now. So I think what they seen was old school physicality, physical basketball. Like, I don't like you. And that's how Draymond came off. And it kind of put them on their heels. And it was similar to game one. Once the floodgates opened on the Golden State Warriors in game one, the Warriors couldn't close it. And once that physicality and the floodgates opened in game two, it seemed like the Celtics could never regain their composure. I mean, Draymond was into it with a little bit of everybody. It was Tatum. He was in his face. He had his hand all in Grant Williams' neck. He got into it with Marcus Smart for a little bit. We seen what happened with him and Jaylen Brown. And then at the very beginning of the game, I think he set the tone. It was the first possession. He ties up Al Horford. They go to the floor. They end up getting a shot clock violation. And that right there, to me, I was like, ooh, okay, it's going to be one of these games. They're going to have to match that physicality and exceed it if they're going to want to win that game too. That's what I thought myself, and they just never could. And great job by Draymond by going out there and saying, hey, this is how I have to play the game. I have to muck it up. This is the way I can affect the game because right now, offensively, he's not affecting the game. I mean, defensively, he's fouling a lot, but that was the way for him to affect the game, for them to get a win, and he did a great job doing that.
Eddie, I hear we have
Eddie
a
House,
photo.
where are you
Why
now?
We're getting...
I'm in Boston.
Okay, I hear we have a photo for you. While we're working on that, I got a question for you, though. Obviously, you won the championship 2008, big perk on that squad. I know you work with him now as well. How would that 2008 team fare against this team?
You know what? I think we would. You do want me to be honest? I'm gonna be honest with you. I think we
Be
would dog.
honest.
I think we would dog them out because we had a team full of killers, like from top to bottom. Was nobody weak? I mean, there would be no answer for KG. We already seen what KG did to Horford back when we played before. Paul Pierce, you could cross out Jason Tatum and Paul Pierce, but that's a top 75 player we talked about. You got Ray Allen, another top 75 player you talking about. You had Rondo running the point, Big Perk being big and nasty down low. You had Leon Poe coming in off the bench. You had Posey coming in off the bench. You had myself coming in off the bench. Then you had Tony Allen, another defender coming off the bench. We were one of the best defensive teams, if you really want to, keep it solid in NBA history. One of the best in the history of the game, and yeah, we would have ran through them.
I don't know if the producers
Right
heard
now,
me, so
where
I'm going to
y'all
pull up
at?
that photo one more time. Sorry, Stephen A. I keep hearing about this photo, so let's let this happen. Do we have the photo, Ryan? There we go. That's what they wanted you to see, Eddie.
Hey, you know what? Hey, you know damn well he ain't ever got into no Harvard. I mean, I don't even know why they let him in the building, but that's my dog, though.
He was very professorial, though, Stephen A.
I like his glasses, though. His
Yeah,
swag.
he was hilarious.
You know what? The one thing about it, he always swagged out. No matter what, he always swagged out.
Give him credit where credit is due. Eddie, before I let you go, man, I got to ask you this question. You're up 2-1 right now. When you look at this Boston Celtics team and where they are at this point in the series, what chance do you give the Golden State Warriors of still winning this series over your present-day Boston Celtics based on what you've seen these first 3 games?
I give them a great chance. They're a scary team. I mean, they scored 8 points in 25 seconds, and they could do that. The thing that scares me is that if you turn the ball over against the Golden State Warriors, they will capitalize. And they put you in so many different situations when they get the turnover or even just pushing it in transition because they got guys that can attack the rim. Then they got all these guys filling the three-point line that can just knock down shots, in their sleep. So I'm fearful that if we turn the ball over, the Celtics, if they turn the basketball over and don't get back defensively, it could look like game 2. But if they take care of the ball, I mean, that's where it all hinges on. It all hinges on the Celtics taking care of the basketball, maximizing their opportunities. Because playing in half court, their half court D has been pretty solid. Steph Curry has been the best player by far in this series, but it's going to take more than just him. And I think you've seen that with the Celtics. It's been various guys that have been chipping in. You always going to have your stars do what they do, but you had Horford in game 1, Marcus Smart last game. Jaylen Brown's been consistent. And I think Jason Tatum.
What we've all seen. Now you got people looking at his age. You got people wondering how much he has left. You've got people wondering about his focus. Not me. I got no issue with his focus. He can have his podcast. He can do. I support all of these guys trying to do something. To prepare themselves for when their playing career's over. Ain't nobody say a damn thing about the fact that Tom Brady already signed for damn near $30 million a year, even though he gonna play football. So we want to celebrate him, but we want to lament when the brothers are trying to get paid outside of the sport. Y'all kick rocks. I'm all for the brothers getting paid. Do whatever you can within legal means to get yours. You damn right, but you got to do your job. You got to do your job. And what Draymond has said for the first time is that he's not doing his job. And that cannot continue. Golden State loses this series arguably because of it. And people are not going to look at Draymond differently. That's the difference between now and anything he's been through in the past.
Reputation. Everyone knows what Draymond's bringing to the game. Everyone knows, how he plays in transition, his playmaking ability. His ability to rebound and push, his attitude, culture changer. I don't think one game, changes his reputation. I mean, if they're able to win the series and win a championship with this Golden State team, and Draymond has not played up to where he needs to play, I mean, I think that plays into Draymond's hand. I think if they fall short, Wiseman comes back next year. Draymond Green plays well better with Wiseman. I think that works into Draymond. So I don't think one game hurts his reputation. I think he's going to come out and play well. I mean, he's one of those type of guys that responds well to criticism. Yeah.
Stephen A., I probably have to agree with you on that. And we, like you said before, you properly articulated that he's going to be a Hall of Famer. Nobody's questioning that at all. But for me, like the way he's played 2 out of these 3 games with recognizing and stating that the first game and then the third game saying he played like bleep. Look, for me, it's not about playing bad. It's about effort-wise. He knows the impact he needs to have on tonight's game, right? So we've seen the impact at the highest level of what he could have in game 2. And I get it. Like I'm sitting across the table from one of the best to ever do it, mucking it up. Learn how to come at people from different angles, getting rebounds, not having Boston be plus 16, really fighting, scraping, clawing, not focus so much more on the refs. Tonight's a signature moment opportunity, I think, for him once again to prove that he still is the soul and the spirit of this team. We all know that he is, but in the biggest moments, this is where you want to see this soul be more powerful than it's ever needed to be before, because they need for it to be. The same reason we're looking maybe to Steph to elevate his game off this ankle, or Clay, you're looking for answers. The soul aspect of the Golden State Warriors needs to be personified and elevated tonight. And the world knows it, and we'll see if Draymond Green can rise to that occasion.
And I think he will. I know he will. His demeanor, his upbringing, he's that type of person. So we have a lot of confidence in Draymond, but he does need to play extremely well for them to win a championship.
Put me up on the screen. Make sure I can see Patrick Beverley and Jay Williams when I say this, please. Let me say this. Let me throw this by both of y'all, because again, we all got love and respect for Draymond Green. Ain't no question about that. What we have to pay attention to, though, is this, because I'm a stickler for this, and Jay knows this about me, Bev, and so do you. This is what you do for a living. So it's not just about your skill. It's what you do to elevate it. Because you get, and it's not to be in anybody's pocket or anything, but when you get paid the money, what it does is allows you the luxury of prioritizing that job. Because you don't have to go out and get a second job and do this, and that to not improve on your skills. You're afforded the time to work on your game. We saw Draymond Green, who would have been MVP arguably because of how he did the season in 2016 in the finals against Cleveland, when Cleveland overcame that 3-1 deficit. After Adam Silver gave them a stimulus package, gave LeBron them a stimulus package by Draymond getting suspended. That game 7.
You can't be kicking.
Draymond Green had 32. Draymond Green had 32, 15, and 9. He was sensational. And he was drilling shots all over the place. They left him open. They dared him to shoot. That season, guys, he shot 38% from three-point range. Do you know that the next 2 seasons after, it dipped to 30%? And ever since then, it's been no higher than 28%. You clearly have not worked on your shot. And because you haven't worked on your shot, they're leaving you open, and it's putting the offense at an extreme disadvantage at times because it's 4-on-5, because you're not posing a threat. So what I would challenge Draymond to do is this. Okay, you're not going to hit perimeter shots. How about attacking the basket? How about trying to get a Robert Williams, an Al Horford in a little bit of foul trouble? You can go through the free throw line and hit some free throws. You can score on a layup. Be some kind of a threat that makes them pay attention to you instead of who you looking to pass the ball to. That, to me, is something that I think he needs to do outside of the energy and the defense moving forward.
Yeah, but I just, to piggyback on that, when it comes to, like, shooting the ball, obviously he hasn't shot the ball well at all the last 2 years. So I don't see him coming in and just knocking down, 8 threes tonight. Maybe he hits 2, maybe he hits 3. I just want him to be. I want him to get lost in basketball. Me. I'm a huge Draymond Green fan. I'm talking about huge. Like, I love what he does to the game. I love his IQ. I love how he plays the game. I just want him to get lost in basketball. Don't get lost in Grant Williams. Don't get lost in the referees. Don't get lost in Boston crowd. Get lost in just hooping, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, have fun with the game. Like, you and the biggest stage in the world. It's people, from my neighborhood who looking up to Draymond Green like they look up to me. Like, man, we want to see him just hoop, Pat. Like, just hoop. You know what I'm saying? So that's what he has to do.
And didn't it feel that way, though, Stephen A. and Bev, in Game 2, where, at one time, I know J.J. Redick did it on the details, one of the plays I broke down on Get Up, where he screened 4 dudes in one damn possession. He screened 4 people in one possession. It was almost like he is the spirit animal, right, to a degree, like for the Warriors. Like, he is the warrior. So it's the energy level that you play the game with, too, Pat. So, that's why I say, having the ball in his hands, pushing the tempo, coming up, hey, dribble handoff, dive into the rim, talking, communicating, playing with pace, that's how you get lost in the game. And it seemed like there was just way too much chirping and side stuff going on in Game 3 as opposed to becoming one with the game.
Yeah, I know, me being a guy who, talks to, what they say, talks to the refs, and me being a guy who, talks to opposing teams. Yeah, agitator, whatever the word that people use nowadays. That takes a lot of energy away from me.
Yeah.
It takes a ton of energy away from me. I feel like, and then when I got, as the older I got, and I got into the playoffs, I understood, like, man, I got to harness that, right? I got to control that, because if it's not controlled in the right way, it might bleed out on something bad. I might get kicked out of the game. But when I found a way to kind of harness it in the playoffs against Memphis, I actually found myself playing better basketball. So it's just a balance he has to have, and he knows what he has to do. Of course, you don't want to be the laughing stock this summer, because if they don't win, he will be that.
I will say this, though, Stephen A. It will be interesting, though, because that possession that Pat and I were talking about a couple of days ago, where literally Derek White was coming up to set a screen on Jaylen Brown, because he was actually guarding Jaylen Brown. And literally Jaylen Brown waved Derek White away and said, no, I want you, Draymond. I'm going to target you and put you on the island. So once again, we said defending the ball, right, for Steph Curry, but also for Draymond Green. He's great at being a help side defender. He's great at having active hands, getting steals. But I want to see him elevate his game as a primary defender on the ball, because that's what they're going to do tonight.
No, but he don't do that.
That's what I'm saying.
And that's the thing that people, and
that's not his game.
I'm going to say it again. Draymond is my dog. I love him to death. I love what he brings to the game. But when it comes to, like, ones, and it comes to, like, moving your feet north and south, like, guard, he's not that type of defender. He's a help side defender. He's he can get up under you because of his bulky size. So if he plays against Jokic, he can get up under his legs. He can low swipe. He's good with his hands. But when it comes to just Imano, I got the ball. I got to get a bucket. Like, he's not that type of
Molly.
defender.
Yeah, we got to roll. Eddie House is waiting.
Hold on, Molly. All right, y'all know why he did that. You know why that happened. Because he talked. The crowd is going to be into it. And if you go at him one-on-one, you're thinking mentally and emotionally you can humble him.
Yeah.
It worked in Game 3. Will it work tonight? We'll find out.
Protect your peace. All right. How critical is tonight's Game 4 for Boston, who are looking to take a commanding 3-1 series lead? NBA champion with the C's. Eddie House will break it all.
Injured. They didn't have any chemistry. They were trying to find their identity. And then it's just like something clicked. And it's almost like when Jaylen Brown tweeted out, the energy is about to shift. It seems like guys started getting help.
Role model. He has been a champion. He has been somebody that's put in the work. He has never, ever cheated the game. He's exhibited exemplary professionalism and class, leadership. The list goes on and on and on. And in his 19th season, at age 37, despite the pathetic season that the Los Angeles Lakers have, while you got people walking around off season, chilling with smiles on their face and acting like it ain't no big deal that they home, LeBron tweets out, "I'm never missing the playoffs again. This bleep hurts watching these playoff games," reminding the audience about how much he cares about winning, how much he cares about being in the championship picture, even after all of these years. This is what any sports league is supposed to want. And when you have a potential owner that has that resume, that put forth those kind of accomplishments and has done so in exemplary fashion from a character perspective as well, there is no question that LeBron James deserves ownership of an NBA franchise, and the NBA would be absolutely lucky to have him. And the league should be planning now to do everything they can to make sure that LeBron James has a majority stake in owning an NBA team. He deserves it.
Stephen A., your last line was the headline. The NBA should be doing everything in its power to make sure that one of its brightest stars in the history of the game, even if you are on the side that Michael Jordan is the greatest player on the planet. Okay, if LeBron James is a second or third, whatever your opinion is, it would be in the best business of the NBA to have that representation for your brand globally. A kid from Akron who not only had the talent, but had the business acumen with the team he associated himself with to become a billionaire while still being an active player that will then transition into an ownership, a majority ownership perspective in the likes of Michael Jordan. Like, that's the staple of the NBA. Michael Jordan, LeBron James, your two owners, guys that have played. And by the way, what kind of brand messaging does that send to what's going to happen next in the league? You're telling every little kid out there, hey, if you were to do it like this and surround yourself with the right people and have the luck on the court to get to championships, to monetize those championships, you could potentially own an NBA team one day as well. And by the way, ownership is not something that's new for LeBron James. He's part of Fenway Sports Group that already owns the Boston Red Sox, already owns the Pittsburgh Penguins, already owns Liverpool FC. So there is experience with his team and ownership to begin with, Stephen A., which you name me a reason why they would hold anything against him to take part in something like this. There is none.
Well, I can give you a reason. It's not right. It's not right for them to do it. But I can tell you what their apprehension is. Let's make sure that we understand the times that we're living in, and who's been one of the leading voices in sports in terms of bringing attention to issues that would make, dare we say, the good old boys club that exists in the NFL and NBA and other places very, very uncomfortable. LeBron James. And so as a result of that, remember, it's not just the money that you have. They have to let you in. They have to want you into their club. And you are going to have some who are going to be resistant to that. I'm advocating on behalf of LeBron James, unapologetically. He ain't asking, nobody did, but I'm doing it because it needs to happen. He deserves ownership of a franchise. And the only reason he doesn't deserve it now is because you can't have it while you're playing, okay? Because if he could get it now while he was playing, I'd say give him ownership stake right now. A majority ownership stake. He deserves it. He's that worthy of it. But his voice in those rooms about issues that percolate, not just as it pertains to the game, but beyond. It's incredibly important that a voice like his would be in that room with these other owners, with the board of governors, with the commissioner, the league office, and beyond. Mm-hmm. His voice is pivotal. And so I think that his conscience, and he's a conscientious observer. He's a good brother, a good man. He's an incredible role model, and he is a superstar. There is nothing missing, and there's absolutely no excuse whatsoever for him not to have a majority ownership stake in an NBA franchise. But there will be those who are resistant just because, Jay, they don't want him in the same room as them, hearing what they think, being called on the carpet potentially for it, things of that nature. There will be resistance, but it shouldn't be much.
I agree. And Stephen A., the last thing I would say about this and how I would still force their hand, when George Floyd happened in this country, one of the back ends of that is a lot of people I know in positions of power, and I've been asked this too, been asked to join a lot of different boards, right? Trying to fill out more diversity on their board seats in order to help their business not only have the right profile look, but also to understand and to hear more about some of the plights that are happening in Black and brown communities. So as we look at Michael Jordan as the sole majority Black owner in the NBA, and you think about the story attached to LeBron James, if he has amassed the wealth and the right partnership group in order to do that, that should be something that the NBA should praise and promote and build for what's coming next.
They will.
With their global international brand.
All right, we're up against it. He's aspirational.
They will.
He's inspirational.
Yes.
He's accomplished so much.
We haven't seen that before. And so because he's admitted that, and because...
And for more, we welcome in our guys, the Wizard of Odds, Kenny White, and our NBA analyst, Tim Doyle. Tim, Kenny, it is so good to see you. So a much-needed win for the Warriors last night to even up the series. Tim, what adjustments are you expecting both teams to make following last night's game?
Yeah, I'll start with the Celtics. Only 19 points in the fourth quarter, Poppy. And you know what they decided to do? Shoot too many threes. Like, when it was a three-point game, they went 3 straight possessions down the floor where they shot threes. I was just thinking to myself, threes aren't going in. Maybe we should shoot a 2. Maybe get Jason Tatum on a post-up. Like, I know that there has been multiple games throughout the playoffs where they have had games, the Celtics, where they've made more threes than 2s. But it's kind of simple math. When the old 3 ball isn't falling like it wasn't in the fourth quarter, got to mix it up a little bit. And I thought they became a little bit too reliant on the 3. On the flip side, for the Warriors, can Draymond Green give you anything scoring the basketball? It's almost like they're playing 4-on-5, where he is just strictly a facilitator. I mean, I think he had 72 handoffs, but that's not a stat, right? He has to figure out a way how he can be effective on the offensive end. Took 7 shots, only made 1, only had 2 points. And you want to talk about someone who is known for their swag? He is right now, guys, swagless. I mean, he is like playing with no confidence on the offensive end. This was a guy, now I know it seems like a long time ago, that almost won Game 7 by himself, banging down 7 threes and having 30-plus points against the Cavaliers. That was when LeBron had the big block in the game. But doesn't even seem like the same person right now. So he's got to find his groove. Stella found her groove, right? Back in the day. I think Draymond needs to drink what Stella was drinking back then. So Celtics mix in a little too, especially when you're struggling from deep. And can the Warriors get any production from Draymond?
I like a Stella or two every once in a while, but more on that at sometime else. But I got to admit, back to your point about being swagless, I'm a little bit swagless when it comes to figuring out what really to look at with this series. It's such a difficult bet, or at least it seems. Both teams have won on the road. They've alternated wins all series. Kenny, where do you find an edge here?
Yeah, I tell you, when the series first started, I said experience factor obviously goes to Golden State. And where is that experience? And what we've seen is the grit and determination from an older, experienced Warriors team over a Celtics team who's very cocky and had a lot of swagger and thought they were the better team and kind of felt like we just have to walk out and play our game and we're going to win. But Tim's right. If threes are not going, you've got to get to the rim. You're at home. You're going to draw fouls. You got the crowd behind you. You've got to get to the line. You've got to get into the paint. And that's the way the game has to be played. And the Celtics seem to play that way after a loss. And it seems the Golden State Warriors step up and they play with that grit and determination themselves after a loss. So, hey, this series started when the visitor won the first game of the series. This was a series, and it looks like, to me, I thought it was going to go 6. There's no way. It's going 7 here, but the Celtics have to step up. And they've got to play this game in Game 5. And if they win Game 5, maybe it could go 6, but I don't know. I don't think home court means anything in this series right now. The home fouls have been pretty much even. There's actually been more fouls called against the home team in this series than the visitor, and that's because there's been more called against Golden State. I'm going to go with the Celtics here, plus 3.5.
Yeah, I think that all over the board for the games, right? Alternating wins. There's been some overs. There's been some unders. But one thing has been consistent. Steph Curry. Just keep betting Steph Curry. Steph Curry, whatever it is. Yes, over points, over threes. I mean, he is putting on an amazing performance. And my dad told me this when I was just a boy, a ball, and a dream. See, it all started here, guys. Right here. This guy right here. And when something is working, Russ and Poppy, you don't get away from it. Just keep betting Steph Curry over. We're going to dive a little bit deeper into the game, but Steph has just been oh so consistent. Poppy, tell me this, all right, because you're hip and you always got a high fashion. What kind of haircut was I getting here back in the day? Just leave it long over the ears?
I'm honestly not sure, Tim. But you know what? I was just laughing to myself because this is a prop that I am yet to see. I feel like every time I've been on the show, it's something different. I was maybe expecting the sunglasses, the hammers in the background, but this is a picture that I haven't seen, and I'm not sure about the haircut.
You've left Poppy speechless, by the way.
It looks like somebody has taken a bit of a hit at the photo as well. It's got a big hole in the middle.
I believe there was
I
a
got
Flowbee
kids,
involved.
Poppy. Kids ruin everything. Yeah, you can't put I gotta hide this in a vault for crying out loud.
I am a bit upset that Chicago Joe's not on with you to give us his picks today, Tim. We want to hear his, not necessarily always your Chicago Joe, the shining star. Well, Kenny just gave us his pick, the Celtics. What's your play on the spread, though, Tim, heading into this next game?
You're coming back with the Celtics, Kenny? I'm going to take the Celtics as well, plus the points. Eyeball test. I just think they're better, and lack of focus, attention to detail, whatever the excuse is going to be. Check out really how the Warriors have won game 2 and game 4. Game 2, they played football, right? Draymond Green should have been ejected in the first half. They held, they grabbed, they did whatever they had to do to win that game. I get it. The officials should have tossed Draymond. They didn't. So that's how they win game 2. That's just fact, okay? They bullied the Celtics in game number 2. And then game number 4, you needed a superhuman effort out of Steph Curry. So what's going to happen in game number 5? I don't think the bullying is going to happen anymore. So I don't think they're going to get away with, him being so physical. He actually fouled out in game number 3 after playing football in game number 2. But I think the Celtics are just going to mix it up offensively a little bit better. And, the reality is easier said than done. You got to stop Steph, right? You got to limit him. Like, can you limit him to 30 points? Because superhuman effort out of him. And actually, I watched him in the fourth quarter. He does wear down because there's so much pressure on Steph Curry to perform at a high level for 48 minutes that Steve Kerr had to go to him a little bit earlier in the fourth quarter, and he did look tired. Rightfully so. He's doing a lot. And by the way, he kind of sort of got injured in game number 3. But I think the Celtics are just more balanced. I think they have more scoring threats. I think they just got away from attacking, and they settled a lot for 3. So you're going to give me 3.5 points? I'll take all of them.
I got to say, without a rooting interest, it's pretty awesome to see Steph going God mode at times in that game. It's pretty amazing. Guys, the early total for game 5, 212.5. That'll probably move one way or another before Monday night. But which way do you go with this after a few days out here? Kenny, I know you love you some unders.
Yeah, and this series, and again, when you play a 7-game series, offensively, you're showing the opponent almost everything you have the first couple of games. So both defenses have seen everything they can see, I think, after 4 games now. We've seen the shooting percentages. The first game, effective field goal percentage, 59%. Game 2, 51. Game 3 went back up to 56%. Barely went over the total in this past game, again, 51%. The pace continues to get a little bit slower as well. These games have so much more meaning. We've got a 3-game series now. That's what we're down to. And Tim said it. Boston has to find a way how to slow down Steph Curry. They have to get more physical. That's what they have to do. I don't know if they can do it on the road. I don't know if they can do it at home. They sure weren't physical with him yesterday. I know with an injured foot, you're not trying to hurt somebody, but there's a way to play physical defense, and the Celtics just aren't doing it. And they're a great defensive team. And if they play that defense, this is an easy under. The last 3 games, the median final score, 204. So I'm going to go under the 212.5.
When I spent time with Kenny White, we went out to Santa Anita Racetrack, and he brought like a childlike bag of just pencils, right? Just red pencils and pens, and there was so many different ornaments that he brought. And I'm going to give him this advice. See this pen right here, Kenny? You got to get this in your rotation, okay? It's got the green, the red, the black. It will eliminate you bringing kind of your pencil holder around. It was a tad embarrassing, but I was like, it's the Wizard of Oz. He kind of does what he does. And when the Wizard of Oz dives into totals, I follow him. This is like Reggie Jackson in Naked Gun, okay? He was supposed to kill the queen. Like, I must follow the Wizard of Oz. Like, I am just robot mode right here. His totals are the best in the business. And when he has something going under, heck, he texted me, Russ and Poppy, and he said, bet the under in the NBA All-Star game. Not sure if you ever watched that. They don't play any defense. It was 2.5 hours of gut-wrenching of sitting there going, why did I bet the under? Ended up winning, though. Why? Because Kenny knows his totals. I'm going to go under as well.
All right, so you're both in agreement there. That is an elite pen as well, by the way, Tim. Very underrated. Let's talk about the big picture, though. The Warriors favourites to win it all at -140. Kenny, you've backed the Celtics the entire time. Are you sticking with them here, despite them being the slight underdogs to lift the trophy?
I am sticking with them, Poppy. I think that there's been a little overconfidence, and that grit and determination by the experienced Warriors have kept them in the series. And Steph Curry, it's been a one-man show. Without Curry, obviously this game, this finals is over. I thought it should have been over. I think the Celtics are a far better team, and I have to stick with them here. Take the 3.5. I just hope they've gained a lot of experience and knowledge from the first four. And they know they better come to play every single possession of every game from here on out if they want to be the champs. And I think they will. I just think they're a little bit deeper. And you know what? Tim's right. Draymond Green, it's 5 against 4. Come on, Boston. You should be able to win 5 against 4.
Yeah, I mean, I picked Russ and Poppy, the Celtics, in 6. And I'm not ready to jump ship right now. Like, I feel like Leonardo DiCaprio at the end of Titanic. Like, it's so cold. By the way, there was room on the raft. I've been trying to prove. Rose was selfish, and she could have easily pulled him up there at the end of Titanic. Instead, the guy's out there freezing to death. I'm cold right now. I'm cold with the Celtics, but I'm holding on for dear life, okay? I believe that Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, this is a team that flipped the switch. They were 80-1 in November to win the title, 60-1 in February to win the title, and then last night they were almost -300 to win the series. So I know it's one game and it was a superhuman effort from Steph, but you really have to take a step back and be like, how are the Warriors going to win this series? Because the games they have won so far, I'm not saying there's an asterisk, but there have been some amazing storylines. The physicality in Game 2 and the unbelievable performance in Game 4. Can they do that for 2 more games? I have my doubts. Russ, what do you think? Do you think Rose was selfish? She was just looking out for herself at the end of Titanic? She could have just pulled them up on the raft.
You're not wrong. I sense no lies at all, Tim. Rose, super selfish.
Super selfish.
I'm with you.
I agree. Well, I know one thing that's for sure. Kenny and Tim, you are comfortably on the raft together. Let's take another look at their picks because they're in agreement.